Welcome to this story, Pilgrim. Episode 4, The Saint's Way, from Padstow to Foy. Where's that? It's in Cornwall. The Saint's Way is an ancient route used by pilgrims and traders dating back centuries. The modern route was opened in 1986, making the most of the Cornish countryside. But I wasn't in Cornwall to begin with. I was at home in Brighton. So of course, I had to make my way there. And of course, the mind started wandering, and we get my thoughts on the road. Right, it is 4:30 in the morning, so we have about a 4.5 hour drive ahead of me. So let's do that and see how this today goes. So still going. I've got about 70 miles to go. I'm at Exeter Services, and I'm actually feeling quite nervous about this walk. I'm sure I'll talk about it. It's just a couple of days, just 30 miles. But this country is so green. Now I know Ireland's greener. That's another thing. But as I'm driving down here, I'm on the A38 now, going to Bodmin, and it's just stunning. There's trees, grass. I mean, anything green really. There's just lots of green, like fields and fields. So I am now officially the furthest I have ever been in this country. Furthest west, I should say. The furthest. That doesn't really make much sense, does it? The furthest west I've been in this country. I will be going a little bit further west when I go up to Padstow. I am in Bodmin. I'm actually at Bodmin Parkway Station. The Bodmin and Wenford Railway. Steam trains in the heart of Cornwall. So the first part of the journey is done. I am now on the bus going up to Padstow. That should take about an hour and 10 minutes or so. And then we can start the walk. Padstow is a natural harbour, and the Saint's Way starts at St Petroc Church. The church has been on this site since the 6th century. Now this area is new to me, and I loved being in a new area, but it also meant that I had no idea how to pronounce certain names. Try and count how many different ways I pronounce the final destination. Foy, Fo, Foy. There's probably more in there. Yeah, let's go outside and we can have a chat about the Saint's Way. So we come out here into a beautiful, absolutely stunning graveyard. The church, the clock tower. It's a very basic church, but the clock tower is all, I think that's like slate. Looking around the graveyard is absolutely packed. It goes up a hill, and there's beautiful conifer trees, mixture of trees in here, but you can see several of the Cornish crosses. Whenever I think of Cornwall, one of the things I do think of, apart from Cornish pasties straight away, is the Cornish cross, and you can see several of them around the graveyard here. Well, the Saint's Way has been going for probably 600-700 years, and the saints that would have walked this route would have been the Irish, Welsh, Scottish saints that have taken down the boat from wherever they are across the sea, and instead of them taking the boat around Land's End, it was too dangerous for them. It was easier for them to get off at Padstow and walk from the North Cornish coast, we're mid Cornwall here, down to the South Cornish coast at Foy and take the boat across to France. Why am I doing it? Why did they do it? Why did they feel they needed to go to Santiago? Why am I doing this now? It's been a couple of years since I did St Cuthbert's Way. A couple of years. It was only an episode ago. Only the first 2 episodes. We're on episode 4 now. Hello. Don't worry. It's all alright. Go on. Go on. No worries. Okay. Why did the dog react that way? And it makes it quite funny how the gentleman just stands there. It's like, just keep walking, mate. I'm not going to do anything. Why is it taking me 2 years to do another walk? Honestly, I don't really have an answer for that. I have excuses, but that's not really an answer, is it? Yeah. The most important thing is that I am doing it now, and I am going to reconnect to my love of walking, my love of being out in nature, and just seeing what happens. Actually, I would say my love of spontaneity, of just going for it. So we're going to start off. We're going off to Lanivet is the destination for today. That's halfway along the Saints Way, and let's enjoy the walk. And I find my first way marker, Dennis Road. We are heading out of Padstow. Like I said, this is technically the furthest west I have been in this country. Looking over to my left now, I can see the River Camel going inland. And here we have what I would call our first proper way marker. The others were just signs saying Saints Way this way. This one is the yellow arrow, and it has the Cornish cross on it. Walking out of Padstow, I had my first chance to have a turn around and have a good look at Cornwall. So I've walked up the first little hill, the first field outside of Padstow really, and you get a stunning view turning round back at the estuary of the River Camel. A few cliffs on the other side over there, right down by where it joins the sea. There's sandbars out there. You can see people out on the sandbars, either just playing around or doing some sort of looking for cockles or mussels or whatever. But I've been lucky, and I've picked an absolutely beautiful day for it. It's absolutely stunning. So we're walking along, we've cut away from the River Camel, and we're following the Lime Pretherick Creek. So we're probably about a couple of 100 feet above it. So you get a beautiful view looking down into the estuary, and as I may have already mentioned, the tide is out. So it's just getting over a stile here. It really does show you the difference between high tide and low tide. I'm guessing that we are right at low tide right now, because it is very low and just lots of mud either side. Very well cultivated area, lots of fields with I think it's Christmas trees over in that one. This field I'm walking through now is all furrowed. Seems to have already been harvested, whatever was in here. I did see a couple of fields of rye, but there's cattle, there's sheep, there's horses. There seems to be quite a rich variety of agriculture happening in this area. Why has it taken me 2 years to get back out on a pilgrimage? Thoughts about that, and also thoughts about where I am now, both physically and mentally. Life really just gets on top of you, doesn't it? I finished doing my masters and was a little bit not lost, but had options as to what I could do, having lived in America for 8 years prior to doing my masters. There was a thought of going back to America. There was the thought of staying in London. There was thought of going elsewhere, wherever it would lead me. And I applied for various jobs that I thought would enhance what I did on my masters, use what I did on my masters to move forward. And as I was applying for those jobs, I applied or saw an advert for British Airways cabin crew, and I was one of those one-click apply things. Didn't even think about it, just clicked on it and off went the application. I probably applied for about 35 jobs altogether during that period. British Airways were the only people to interview me. Got a lot of just silence from a lot of the job applications I put in. I got a couple of no thank you. Due to the high caliber of entrants, we have decided not to pick you, which makes you feel kind of crap, because you're like, oh, you're saying, I didn't reach that caliber, basically. It's quite steep going down here. Again, thankful that somebody's put steps in here, but they're quite steep steps. For the past 16 months, I have been working as cabin crew with British Airways, going all over the world, basically. It's a great job. I'm very, very lucky and fortunate to have it. It's also taking me away from the things that I love. It takes me away from, it's really pulling me away from my acting. And that kind of has taken over, which has sort of like stopped me from doing walks, from pursuing the story Pilgrim further. I've had a little bit of luck on my acting side. So why have I left it so long? Just because of circumstances, really. Circumstances that are kind of in my control, but also kind of not. It is hard to follow a passion that doesn't pay you anything. that you do it because you love it. I do this because it warms my heart and helps me with my mental health as well, and my emotional health. Right, we're going to drop down. There's going to be a path going off here, I think, in just a few steps. Here it is, the Saints Way. There we go. I was worried that I might stay on the road for a bit too long, but no. Got it. I'm probably going to unpack quite a lot on this walk, because a couple of months ago I did start having therapy, or seeing a therapist. Just because I think we should all have somebody else that we can talk to. Let the tractor go by. Without the distractions of tractors, things like that. Hello, hey. It's really interesting how your mind can really govern your physicality, your emotional state, your spiritual state. It's very powerful. Again, I will always come back to the same things, because that's what these walks do. Bring you back to the basics, to the present. That is one thing that I have fallen out with over the last couple of years. It's a gradual descent. You do, even if it's just a day walk, it helps you to reconnect. And then if you don't keep that up, for me personally, it is then just a slow descent back to worrying about the future, worrying about the past, and not being present. Oh, there's a beautiful garden now coming up. There's some cottages here, and they've got apple trees, pear trees, and all kinds of beautiful coloured daisies, and there's gourds, squashes, pumpkins. Wow, that is a real work of art. Yeah, beautiful begonias, and wow, that's gorgeous. That's somebody's put in a lot of work there, and they know what they're doing as well. It's a little wildlife area. Fallen out with the present. That's a little bit sad, but do you see how nature just pulled me right back to the present? Oh, talking of nature. Just turned a corner and there was a kestrel right in the field, just sat there, and he just took off. Or she, it. It's a lovely sight. Don't see that in Brighton. Although we did get a baby seagull stuck in our courtyard a couple of weeks ago. It fell in. Our courtyard's only small. It's like high walls either side. Like the lowest wall is probably like 12 foot high. And this seagull, baby seagull, just fell in. I was hoping it would be able to get itself out, but it didn't. And I tried to get it, but it just ducked down in the corner and underneath all the pots and stuff. So we had to get a man come and take it away. He took it away in this cardboard box, and now every baby seagull we see, Lucy, that's my girlfriend, says, "Oh, is that our seagull?" No, our seagull's probably dead. You got to be realistic about these things, haven't you? Oh, there's lots of poo here. It stinks. I'm sure the baby seagull is fine. I then came across 3 locals having a picnic, and I finally found out how to pronounce my final destination.
And then, so you walk to Foy, don't you? Just the same
is that
way
how
go
you
to
pronounce
Foy.
it?
Yeah.
Foy. I'm not sure how you
Oh my God,
like,
you'll
is it
love
Foy?
Foy.
Foy.
You'll
Well,
love
you'll
Foy
like
then.
Foy.
Is that nicer than Padstow?
Both has nice
Yeah,
has.
they're different, but just as nice as one another, really.
Yeah.
Down to Foy, and that's it. It's just a short walk. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then what do you do about transport then?
So now I know Foy, but still listen to how many different ways I do say that final destination. I don't know if it's my dyslexia or if it's just me being silly. Now it was time for some refreshment and reflection. I'm just picking some blackberries here. Oh, they're so nice. So sweet. Just hope a dog hasn't peed on them. They still taste alright though. I love the challenge of it. Going into, it's not exactly the unknown, but it's, the challenge of never having done it before, going to places I've never been, and just seeing what happens. The spontaneity of it all, being in the moment and being present and being aware. When you are in this situation where you're like, okay, I've got to get from A to B and I've got to follow this route, you do stick to that. So I love that side of it as well. I was coming to the end of day 1 and I finally made it to my bed for the night. A beautiful bed and breakfast, St. Benet's Abbey, ran by Jenny, a lovely Filipino lady who was just a delightful host. Perfect place to rest. I got settled in and had a very quiet evening in, and soon was sound asleep, thinking of all those things that had happened today, but mainly why. Walking over a little stream to get into St. Benet's Abbey. Hello, is it Jenny?
How are you?
Hey, I'm Darren.
Darren.
Yeah, pleased to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you. So what did you do?
The next morning, I had my breakfast, said my goodbyes to St. Benet's Abbey and Jenny, left Lanavet behind and walked up a lovely little hill. Coming up to the top of the hill coming out of Lanavet, and it is a beautiful little country lane, banked each side by about 5 foot of earth, and then these gorgeous trees that just make a natural archway as you're walking up. So again, I've said it before yesterday, it's so green. It is absolutely delightful, and sort of creates its own little ecosystem as you're walking underneath it. It's very cool. Yeah, it's only, what time is it? 8:35 in the morning. So the day hasn't really got going yet. But little roads like this, they're just absolutely delightful. They take you off to many different places, even though they're only leading to one. A little later I met Jake, the first person walking in the same direction as me. He's not walking the Saints' Way. Jake is 28, and he had a lot of interesting stories to tell and fascinating insights.
And I was a very hard cocaine user.
Okay.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Possibly, I think I'd always been an addict. I don't think you're ever born.
Sure.
I think you're either born one way or the other, personally.
Yeah.
You've either got it in you or you haven't.
Yeah.
Obviously trauma can trigger it, but I think it was my nan passing that triggered it for me.
Okay.
Personally.
Sure.
2016, I'd never taken anything before that year.
Yeah.
The year she passed away, I did.
Right. Yeah.
I'd just say it's finding. I'm not that spiritual. I'm getting more into it as the day goes on.
Okay.
I live my life a lot different than what I used. It's like a 360. I was up in Swindon because of my drug problem. I moved away. I had to move away.
Yeah.
Come back, and then all of a sudden,
boom,
bang.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened, how it happened,
but you're not.
If it will ever happen again. But
yeah.
I've taken drugs once in the last 6 months.
That's great.
I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
I do this stuff every day.
That's brilliant.
Go for cold water dips every morning. Like, I'm up early.
Yeah.
And I want to live my life to the most balanced I can.
Yeah.
I want to get to this point some stage where I can do something and then do what I want to do without having to worry about doing that 9 to 5 every day, you know?
Yeah.
Because
it's tough though, isn't it?
It's very tough.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning of my journey.
Yeah.
But obviously coming from where I came from to where I am now, it's been an amazing journey so far.
Yeah. Knowing about
childhood, I used to be spending evenings, hours up here when I was a child.
Really?
Yeah. And then obviously I didn't. Then sort of you have points in your life where you just go and do your own thing and you forget about the things that really mean the most, because as a child you are so free.
Yeah.
Like there is no
worries.
That is you. That is the real you. What we have in the UK.
Are they in this area?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plenty of adders down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
There's a saying in Cornwall. It's called "Teasy as an adder." Dream. One day.
That's very true.
Do I inherently have a dream that I need to go to? No. There is a dream. There is an end goal.
Yeah.
There is a dream. But do I know what it is? No. That's so fun though.
Yeah, exactly. Jake and I parted ways on the top of Helmand Tor. I continued on my way to Foy, but for the next couple of miles I just needed to walk in silence, reflecting and absorbing all that Jake had to offer. Meeting someone like Jake and then being able to take it all in while being surrounded by nature really is a great icing on the cake. And as I continued on my way, I started to think more about the saints that went before me, why they were there, and why I was here, right now. One aspect of nature that I have seen a lot of on this walk is butterflies. Quite a lot of red admirals, and they call cabbage whites. Is that what they are? It surprises me how fast a butterfly can travel. They'll be like fluttering around, and then they just do one little dart of their wings, and they will shoot away. Just come across another gate that makes you feel like you shouldn't go through it, the way that it's all put together, the latches and everything. And it's definitely the right way to go. It then makes me think about the history of this way, of the Saints' Way, when you're talking about Irish, Welsh, Scots coming through in the 14, 15, 16, 1700s. Oh, it's a beautiful view. Just looking down now, I think Foy is down in that dip down there. It's a beautiful wood, and I can see a river going over there. It's a bit hazy. I mean, it's clear, but it's hazy. That is stunning. But yeah, just thinking about like these people travelling through, and the locals probably would have maybe thought of them as travellers, and not really understanding why these people are doing what they're doing. So they kind of gets that feeling that, yeah, we have this thing. I've bumped into several people. Oh, doing the Saints' Way. They kind of know that it's here, but they kind of don't want it to be here. And that's the kind of feeling I get from doing the Saints' Way. It's like, it's here, but we really wish it wasn't. And you imagine what it would have been like for those pilgrims way back then, like in a foreign land, probably, the hostility towards them, and they're doing what they feel is right for them. It's really interesting that I had those feelings. They were very strong and they were very real to me. My mind was wondering, was it just my imagination or something else? Then nature did it again, pulled me back to the present. And I get my first glimpse of the River Foy. It's quite, it looks like the tide's in, because it's much bigger than the Camel and the little Pretherick Creek. It looks like tide is coming in, because all of their boats are pointed inland. Or actually, no, that means they were going out. Was that in or out? Oh, I don't know. All the boats are pointing upriver. So, answers on a postcard, please, to the Story Pilgrim. Oh, it looks lovely. Really opening up now. Lots of little boats out there in the river. See across to the other side. Bert and Rosie have been very kind and put a bowl of water out here for your dog. What about me? I have needs too. Oh, thanks Bert and Rosie. Still got about 3/4 of a mile to go, but I am coming up to the sign. Welcome to the ancient town of Foy. Finally, it's only been 30 miles and 2 days, but I made it to Foy, and the end of the Saints' Way. And here we are at St Finbarus, the parish church of Foy. One little girl there hiding behind one of the gravestones as they play hide and seek. There we go. Alright, it's very cool in here. This is probably one of the bigger churches, full of stained glass. I'm going to grab a seat for a second. Oh, and there we are. We made it from Padstow to Fow, from church to church, from St Petroc to St Fimbarus, the Church of St Fimbarus or St Nicholas. The dedication of this ancient church has caused some confusion, as the church was originally dedicated to St Barry. By the late 13th century, documents referred to the saint as Fimbarus in Latin, yet local people appear to prefer the initial name. I definitely prefer the initial name, St Barry. I mean, it's the Chuckle Brothers, isn't it? You know, to me, to you, to me. How can you not want that for your church? St Barry was reputed to be buried at Fowey. Well, there you go, good old Bazza. Thanks for having this church, even though it's not named after you anymore. But yeah, this is an old church, and like I said, I can imagine the pilgrims feeling a great sense of relief getting this far, and also I think a great sense of relief of leaving behind those 2 days, or 1 day, or 3 days, however long it took them to get down from Padstow. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I've been talking a lot about why. Why do we do pilgrimages? Why do I do it? Why did they do it? This time round for me, it's been a long time coming. Shouldn't have left it that long. I really need to keep on top of this now. That's important to me. That's what's going to help me tick, as what Jake is finding. To make the most of it, to make the most of this moment right now. That is the thing, isn't it? Staying present, staying mindful of our environment and nature. It teaches us so much. It really does. I can't stress that enough. It really does. It shows us what this planet is all about. And sadly we are neglecting that. If you get a chance, get out there. Go for a walk, even if it's in your local park. Just go and do it. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. Nature really is a great educator. I need to remember that, and by going for a walk, that's how I am reminded. The Saint's Way is short and sweet. It's kind of angry, but maybe that was just the way I was feeling. Join us again. Thanks for listening. The Story Pilgrim was written and produced by Darren Hill. Original music composed and performed by Anya Backer. For more information about The Story Pilgrim, Darren and Anya, go to thestorypilgrim.com or follow us on Instagram and Twitter @TheStoryPilgrim.